Welcome, everybody, to the Mainstream Indie Music Channel. We talk about all kinds of indie music on this channel, from punk to grunge to electronic to dance punk to alternative rock, everything that's indie music. And I just want to thank the 365 subscribers so much for your guys' support. And also, of course, you guests, the first-time watchers of the channel, I welcome you as well. Today's episode has been a long time in the making. This is an extremely, extremely talented band. And when doing research into them, I was kind of sad to see where their story is right now. I'm going to, of course, be able to explain that in the future in a little bit. But this band is called Local Natives. And one of their songs that I wanted to focus on in particular is a song called Who Knows Who Cares. But before I get to that song, I just wanted to lay the groundwork a little bit. And there's actually not going to be a lot of prep work before we actually go into the song itself, because this song was a part of the initial debut songs. And so, Local Natives as a band, before, again, we go into them, was formed around the year 2005. And really, the year is kind of, you can't say that for sure, because the band met while they were all, well, some of the band met while they were even in junior high school. But then most of them met in high school and a little bit into college. And so this group played music together from a very young age. You know, that again, this is one of those bands where they almost grew up together as a band, and so they learned each other's style of play as they were growing up. But all of them went into college, you know, still kind of thinking, okay, this is nice that we play music. We might be a little talented, but I don't think we can ever actually be a band. And it wasn't until the summer of 2008 that they even named themselves Local Natives. Up to that point, they just kind of floated in between names. All of them also were living together. You know, if anything, this story really rivals the story of Young the Giant, where they're just kind of young guys all living together in one space playing music. And they're all from California as well. What's kind of cool is when they make music, the majority of the time, I can't say for certain all, because again, you know, I'm not a part of the band, so I don't know. But the majority of the time in interviews, they have said that they make their music as one big group together, as a collective. They don't like to be separated when they write music. And so they released their debut album, Gorilla Manor, which was a huge success. They released it in 2009. And they named it after the house that they were living in as well. And it reached number 3 in the new artist chart. You know, at that time, 2009, 2010, this album was very, very popular. And it only got bigger because of the bands that they were touring with at the time. Many people kind of called them Vampire Weekend-esque band, maybe Arcade Fire, a little bit of Grizzly Bear as well. They toured and were an opening act for Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros. And then their bass player left. But at this point, they had really started to hit their stride. I think especially when you look on YouTube, and not so much their music videos, but what you need to watch from them to really appreciate the talent that they have as vocal harmonizers, which I'm about to get to in a minute. You need to watch their kind of like their live intimate shows, because it really just showcases the talent that all of these guys have, especially amongst Taylor Rice and Kelsey Air. Now, that leads us to the song Who Knows Who Cares. It's played 76 BPM, and there are a lot of underlying orchestra band music playing in the background, especially the horn section. You can hear them kind of hit the main riff over and over and over again in the background. But when the song begins, it's just the singer and his guitar, just playing the main riff. You get a little bit of piano chords going on in the background, and the song is really just, when you look at the lyrics, it's really just about making the best out of your circumstances, kind of like a happy-go-lucky song, which is kind of seen in the title of the song, Who Knows, Who Cares? But it's spoken from a first-person perspective of a guy just kind of going through life, enjoying himself, going on hikes, going to his favorite places, hanging out with his favorite people, maybe even hanging out with a significant other. And really every single time the person, the narrator, speaks about kind of taking it easy in life, they hit that line, who knows, who cares. And what's really, really cool is every single time they sing it, it seems like it increases in intensity between the singer and the backup singer. Where at first it's kind of just saying normally, and by the very, very end, they are just really holding on to those vocal harmonies, with Taylor especially hitting those high notes of the vocal range. But what's really cool about this song too, because the first person narrator talks about a river a lot in this song, and what's really cool is when he mentions the river in the second verse after the chorus, you start getting some light drumming in the background that really helps symbolize the flowing of the river and the current of the river, which is right when the harmony and melody of the backup singer kicks back in as well, and the drums just subtly start to increase before they die off again. The song hits a full crescendo right at the beginning of the end of the second chorus, where they really start holding their notes rather than just kind of saying, who knows, who cares? They start to draw out some of those words, and eventually they're just kind of harmonizing vocal noises over each other. It's so amazing. Eventually they're almost like yelling over each other, but not like shrieking, just kind of subtle, like sing yelling, almost kind of a thing. And it pretty much ends with the two harmonizing over each other over and over a slight drum beat until the song ends on its final guitar chord, and that is the end of the song. Who Knows, Who Cares is definitely, to me, Local Native's masterpiece. You really need to listen to it if you have not listened to it before. You will be in such for a treat if you do. Now, Local Natives, like I said, that was their debut album that was released on, and they went on to make many albums afterward. Hummingbird was a great album, a really big change as well, because it was really somber. In 2016, they released another single called Past Lives, which led into their album Sunlit Youth being released on September 2016. And then the lead singer, not the lead singer, the backup singer, the harmonic vocalist, Kelsey, which is his last name, released his debut album as well. And a couple of their band members actually started to release debut solo albums too, but they decided to get together and make a fourth studio album, Violet Street, which was announced in March 2019. They kind of made the TV circuit after that. And in 2021, they said they were going to release new music. They released a covers album. And what was really cool was when they were recording for their next album, which was called Time Will Wait for No One, they decided to do their first performance after the COVID-19 pandemic. And they said that it was such a needed concert because the band almost had to learn how to play together again. What I think was happening was they were starting to just kind of drift apart musically with their careers. And maybe a few of them wanted to focus on their solo albums rather than maybe getting back together for a whole band to release an album. And you'll see why here in a second. The sister album was called But I'll Wait for You, and that was released in April 2024. The band says that it literally was and is seen as the second half of that previous album, Time Will Wait for No One, and it calls it a sister album, so that's really cool. And then sadly, Kelsey Air left the band in April of 2024. He did say he wanted to support them through this last tour of their new album, however, and he says maybe someday in the future he will focus on maybe coming back. But that's all I have for the history of the song, Who Knows Who Cares, and of the band Local Natives. I want to hear from y'all. Have you listened to them before? What do you recommend? I will see y'all next week. Bye.